Okay, so we're back on our Vortec heads. Bear with me. This is a very hard thing for me to film. I have to be the cameraman. I have to be everything. It's a one-man show. So I'm going to do my best. We're going to hop all over the place. Anyways, part 3, I guess, of these Vortec heads. We're going to deal with, we roughed out the intake ports. We're going to deal with polishing the intake ports. We're going to work on the bowls a little bit for the intake and the exhaust. And we're going to bring them up to a very specific size. You want your bowl to be 88 to 90% of your valve size. And so on this particular build, we want to make a lot of torque. We're not going to scream this thing 7,000 RPM type of thing. So we're going to go on to the smaller. We're going to go to the 88. And we're going to do that for 2 reasons. We want it to build torque. But that'll still increase the flow enough that the thing's not going to lay over as it starts to rev. It's still going to, have a decent amount of high RPM capacity. It should pull really strong to 6,500, which for a 400 small block, that's quite good. What else can I tell you about this build so you understand why we're porting it the way we are? I guess that's it. I'll just get into it now and show you what I've done. And then I'll think of stuff as we come along. So here's our intake ports. As you recall in the last episode, we roughed them all out. We squared them up. We did a little bit of work in the push rod hump, not very much. In an episode previous to that, we mounted them on the block and we scribed for alignment, port matching, and all of that. So what I've done now is I've come back in here with my hard roll, about a 120 grit. I don't want to polish it up super smooth. And we've just went in there and we've cleaned that all up. Now I hope this shows up on the camera here. And excuse me, I got getting over a terrible cold. Anyways, you can see right here a parting line in the cast. So you're probably going to run into this quite often. Once you've determined your valve size, and that is still there, sorry, not your valve size, your port size, and that's still there, don't try to get rid of that, because all you're going to do is you're going to increase your port size, you're going to destroy your velocity, you're going to have a void, it's not going to be progressively smaller, you're going to end up with a dead spot. If you're doing an all-out port, high RPM, big inch-race engine, by the time you deal with all that, that's going to disappear anyways. But for a torque, monster, small block, street engine like we're building here, don't worry about that. Leave that in there. You'll do more damage taking it out. So then the next thing we did, let me see if we can get a nice angle on that for you. So we came in here, and we used our pilot. We used our valve grinding equipment for this. And this here is just not fancy new cutters, not a Surdy or anything like that. It's just some good old-fashioned, readily available, dirt cheap, old valve grinding stuff. I dressed my stone at 80 degrees. We used our pilot. And we opened up the throat to our 88%, which on this was 1.70 because we have a 194 valve. And then we did the same thing on our exhaust, and we opened our exhaust up to 1.32. Exhaust is fine. I'm going to do a little bit of work here on the short side radius. Other than that, when I opened this up, it's just beautiful. It just lines up perfect with the cast port. I'm just going to do a little bit of work there. Then you can see how we went in here and we just polished this up. I start with a 120 and then I ended up with a 180. I didn't do any contouring. I took some of the casting flash out. I took some of the rough edges out. I just wanted to make this smooth so we don't get a carbon buildup and stuff like that. Just let the air go through, nice clean port, all that. Like I said, it's not an all-out race engine. It's a torque monster type of thing, you know. I think there you can see that ridge I'm talking about, that I just want to lay this back a little bit, just make that transition smooth there. It's going to be a little bit hard for me to grind that there from that angle, but let's see what we can do. I'm going to use the cordless one here. I don't, just simply because I got the hard roll already in my air one, and I like the air one for that because I can control the RPM a bit more. So I'm just going to go in there and knock that edge out. So maybe I can, let's see if we can just color this all up a little bit so you can see. And this is not a bad guide too for you guys. Get yourself some Sharpie or some Dicom. Dicom would work super well for this. I have some Dicom, but it's the non-drying type. It's terribly messy. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I don't think I increased, so by doing that the way I did, I didn't increase the throat volume because I left it a little bit on the small side anyways. So I made that 88%. I didn't go to the 90. And then when I ground this little bit of extra out here so we don't have that ramp there, so we have a smooth airflow, that would bring it up to about 90%. I'm going to just cut a couple of them throats now and show you how I do that. So we use a pilot. We have dressed our stone to 80 degrees. And this goes very, very fast because you're cutting at such an angle. This takes no time. You got to be quite careful. And you really got to dress your stone often because with that much of an angle, she gets dirty pretty quick. This is how we dress our stone. Put it on the shaft. This is adjustable in angles. We have it set where we want. Has a little adjustable diamond tip cutter there. And you just clean your stone up. We take our valve, almost there. Just the old cut down valve. And as you can see, my stone shattered. That was my fault. I put a bit of pressure on it. Bring down in the bottom to hold your grinder up. And then when you grind, you can just go and just touch and it will bring it back off of the seat so it doesn't hook and break. Just looking for an appropriate spring here. See? Okay. Just like that. And I'm stopping just as I get maybe 20 thou back from the bottom of the 45 from the original valve seat, a little bit more, we're almost there. And just like that, that's done. So that's how I do that. Like I said, we could have had better camera angles. It's really hard for me I need somebody to help hold the camera, zoom in and out while I'm doing all of this. I'm working on finding somebody. So, but this was pretty simple, straightforward. We didn't have to show it all that much. We just had to explain what we were doing. In the next episode now, we're going to get really in-depth and technical with our valve job. Your valve job will make or break a cylinder head. And we're going to have about 5 angles on this. And the other thing you got to remember is it's not just your port that flows the air in and out. It's that last, your entrance to the port, and then that last half, 3/4 of an inch before it goes into the chamber or out in the exhaust. That last little bit at the throat, and then the other side of the throat into the chamber has a great effect on the airflow and the velocity that the port receives. So we're going to deal with that too. We're going to do a little bit of mods in our chamber, nothing too fancy. Unfortunately, you could do all this with a die grinder. It would be very tedious and time consuming. If that's what you have and you wanted to copy these set of heads like this, that's perfectly fine. This old valve grinding stuff, it's cheap, lots of it around, very plentiful, lots of used ones I see for sale all the time. I don't know what's the most I ever paid for one. With a valve grinder, wasn't very much. The cheapest I ever paid for one, valve grinder, whole bunch of stones, pilots, everything was free. So the stuff is out there. If you want to really make a hobby out of doing this type of stuff, I would recommend that's something you'll use a lot. So that's all for now, guys. So the next step, we're going to do the valve job. And we're going to follow it up also with a bunch of technical. We'll get out some whiteboards. So then if I actually draw the port out, you'll be able to see, I can explain a lot better what I did as opposed to just trying to look down in the chamber. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day.